Hey there everyone, welcome back to Jimothy Listens. My name is Jimothy. We are halfway through the year. There's been a lot of good music that's come out so far this year, so I figured I'd take this chance to kind of round up my favorite releases and present them neatly in this one little video here. I have 17 albums slash EPs, and I'm just gonna quickly go over them and explain why I love them so much. So, in no particular order, because I don't want to spoil my year-end list, here are, in my opinion, the best albums of 2022 so far. Kicking things off, we have Faster by Lil Texas. This is an incredible hardcore electronic album that is just the hypest thing I've ever heard. It is punishing, pummeling electronic music. It is so much fun. It is absolutely wild. I cannot get enough of this. It's just so good. It goes ridiculous. It is insane. It's just energy from start to finish, and I love it. From there, we have the latest one from Horror, Skin. This as well is just a insane ride, mix of metal, punk, trap, hip hop, just blended together in ridiculous ways, constantly moving from one thing to another. Throughout the entire length of the album, nothing is repeated, no sound pops up twice. It just goes between all of these loud, punishing, wild textures, and I absolutely adore it. It's so good. From there we go to an EP. This is from from PC Music. It's the Hypernormality EP. This is just a gorgeous little project. There's a really nice short film to go along with it, which I definitely recommend checking out. It's on YouTube. You can find it for free. But this is just some gorgeous, really nice, like ethereal, heavenly, atmospheric sort of electronic stuff. It's really nice. It's just one of the prettiest things I've heard this year. Then from there, our next album is Haru Nomuri's Shunka Ryujin, and this album is so hard to try and sum up because it has so many sounds in one. It's got big sort of rock and punk sounds with nice kind of like poetic spoken verses, and then it goes into rap and pop and like hyper pop and trap and just all of these different sounds melded together, so it feels like you're just watching this tapestry being weaved before you, and it's gorgeous, it's fun, it is bright, it's just a wonderful listen. It's maybe the most colourful thing I've listened to this year. It's just wonderful. I adore this album. Then from there we go to Billy Woods with Ethiops. This has been a good year for sort of abstract left field hip hop, and this album is one of my favorites. Billy Woods is just a fantastic rapper. On every single song here, he manages to just build a world with very precise details and tell such compelling stories that are easy to get lost in while also having so much meaning. If you wanted to sit down, you could get a dictionary out and just analyze each line and learn things that you never knew before. But also, if you don't want to do that, it's just an incredible rap album. The production is phenomenal. Billy's deliveries are great. It's just everything about this is done really nicely. It's easily one of my favorite hip hop records of the year. From there, we have Ada Rook of Black Dresses with her solo album Ugly Death No Redemption Angel Curse I Love You, and I love this album. It's the classic kind of Rook, like noise pop industrial with bits of like rock and metal, but it's encased in this like dance theme. There's all of these just like pounding beats, really just marching the whole thing along and making it very kind of accessible, and also set it in a really interesting location. Instead of just being this like weird abstract thing, it sort of feels like it has a definite like place and identity that like gives you almost an image to then get distorted by all of the crazy noise and other elements that are thrown in there. It's a really cool album and definitely a highlight of the year so far. From there we come to another abstract hip-hop album. This is Quelle Chris's Death Fame. Now this was personally my first Quelle Chris album, and I sort of went into it hearing people be like, oh, it's still a great Quelle Chris album. It's not one of his best, but I thought, I'll check it out. I've been interested in getting into his stuff. And if this is one of his weaker albums, how good are his best albums? Because this is phenomenal. This album, the story it tells is amazing. The narrative it has, I really sort of got into. And then aside from that, the sound of it is incredible. Quelle's rapping, his voices and flows and rhymes are immaculate and very compelling and fun to listen to. The production is gorgeous. The variety of songs is incredible. Everything about this album is just standout, and I absolutely adore it. And then from there we have the latest from Perfume Genius, Ugly Season. Perfume Genius is interesting to me because I listened to his last album, Set My Heart on Fire, immediately, and I liked the idea of it, but I didn't really get into it. So I'm very glad that this one came around and absolutely just sucked me in. I think this album is gorgeous. It's so pretty. For it being called Ugly Season, it's one of the prettiest things I've ever heard. All of the production and everything is just so meticulous and textural. It's just so pretty. All of the vocal performances are delicious, and the flow of the album, the way it kind of starts off very just like pretty and gentle and ethereal, and then kind of halfway through starts just getting a bit uglier and just adding in all of these harsher elements. It's really nice sort of taking this very high up, gorgeous, airy thing and dragging it through the mud and having it come out the other side almost more beautiful. It's a really nice concept and just elevates what's an already gorgeous album even higher. Then after that, we have the latest one from The Weeknd, Dawn FM. I just love The Weeknd. I am a huge Weeknd fan. I have been for many years. And this album, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. You've probably heard it. If you haven't, why the hell not? Just great dance, disco tracks, catchy, moves nicely. The story, weaving it all together, is super fun and compelling. It's just great songs that come together to make an amazing album. Then after that, we have the newest Soul Glo album, Diaspora Problems, and this just completely blew me away. This album, not only did it blow me away, it kind of blew me away twice, because the first time I listened to it, I just listened to it and was blown away by the sound and the energy. The insane playing of the instruments is just fucked. Pierce's screamed vocals are amazing, and it's just one of the most energetic things I've listened to this year, if not ever. And then the next day I listened to it again, and this time sat down and read the lyrics and was blown away again by just the power of the words, the intelligence and the insight and the strong messaging that it has. Really just connected with me, made me feel something, and really kind of just sat me down and shook me, and I was like, okay, yep. So this album's just phenomenal on every front, easily maybe my favorite album of the year so far. Then we come to Conway the Machine's God Don't Make Mistakes. I've been listening to Griselda for a couple years now, and as much as I've enjoyed pretty much everything that I've heard from them, none of their albums have really sort of blown me away until this one, Conway's latest album, because it's just so good. It's so thoughtful. Conway really opens up and gets vulnerable in a way that I never would have expected. The honesty and just the rawness of the lyrics on this album are incredibly powerful, and that's to go with Griselda's usual high quality production, Conway's usual high quality rapping ability, as well as some really great features all over this project. I'd say this is like definitely my favorite hip hop album so far this year. I just keep coming back to it. It's just really, really good, and I really, really like it. After that, we come to an album from another one of my favorite rappers, and that's Pusha T with his latest It's Almost Dry. Pusha is one of the most consistent rappers and consistently good rappers out there at the moment, so hearing him do his thing over some amazing beats from Kanye and Pharrell is always going to be a treat. But what I especially love about this album is that he's not afraid to get a little bit weird on it. Like, some of the deliveries and some of the flows are a bit like experimental and a bit quirky for Pusha T, and I really like that, how it's not just him doing his straightforward coke rap the whole time. He kind of goes, all right, you know, they've given me some incredible beats with some really sort of cool accents and different things going on, let me match it. And he does that amazingly. It's really great to hear Pusha T doing what he does best and then just adding to it. It's a really fun album and I really like it. Then from here, just because I had to throw one K-pop album in the mix, it's Vivi's Beam of Prism. I just absolutely adore this album. It's one of the best K-pop albums I've listened to. It's one of the best pop albums I've ever heard, probably. It's just phenomenal. The masterful execution of all of the kind of dance pop, disco pop, electro pop sounds that are incorporated into this album is just gorgeous. The performances from the three girls are wonderful. They sound heavenly, and it's just a masterpiece. It's really wonderful, and I will not shut up about this album ever. So there you go. After that, we have the new one from Black Country New Road, Ants from Up There. It's phenomenal. All of the songs here are just epic. The performances from all of the members with the various instruments going on are amazing, and the wide variety of instruments in the band really just make this feel quite sort of cinematic and a lot bigger and higher stakes than your average kind of rock album. Plus the phenomenal vocal performances from Isaac, who unfortunately announced his departure from the band just a couple days before the release of this, are amazing and heartbreaking, and even more heartbreaking with his departure. This album really is just phenomenal, and I will be listening to The Place Where He Inserted the Blade for the rest of my life, because that's one of the best songs ever made. Up next, we are into our last three. We have Charli XCX's Crash, and this is pop music done to perfection. I know a lot of people were disappointed with her departure from the kind of experimental PC music sound she's been doing for the past couple albums, but I just absolutely enjoyed her sort of taking what she had learned from that and injecting it into just a straightforward pop sound. I think it works amazingly. Every single song on this album is a standout, is catchy, is memorable, and they come together to form just one of the most solid straight pop albums I have ever heard. It's really nice. Good job, Charli. Then from there, we come to Black Dresses' latest album, Forget Your Own Face. Black Dresses are one of the most important artists to me, at least, and I think this is my favorite album I've heard from them. It is even noisier and more aggressive and harsher than their last couple, and somehow manages to also be the catchiest and the poppiest and the brightest album that they've released yet. It's an album that's fun and enjoyable, and then you listen to it again and you realize, oh god, it's anything but. The pain and the hurt and the instability is at a at a maximum on this album. And so Black Dresses have given us something that's both relatable and goes hard, so we can at least listen to some bangers while having an existential crisis. Thank you, Rook and Devi. And that brings us to our final album for this video, and that is the latest one from Rosalia, Motomami. This album's just, it's just a really nice album. Rosalia meshes the reggaeton and experimental pop and electronic sounds so well together, and with such ferocity that you're never sure whether this album is coming or going. It's just fun and bright and gorgeous and constantly just throwing new things at you to be like, how about this? How about that? How about this? And each one of them is fun and bright and colourful, and it just comes together to form a wonderful album that's just such a fun ride to listen to. So those are the albums of this year so far that are my favorite. What are your favorite albums of this year? What do you think I might have missed? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear. If you enjoyed this video, you know, like, subscribe, comment, you get it. But you know, I've got more things on the way constantly. New music's always being released, so stick around. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye.